So, hello everyone, my name is Rebeka Zakevica and I'm from Colin Oscar Kalpak Military High School. I am really delighted to participate in this conference. So my study is about symbolism of the words of the European Union anthems. Words becoming symbols, the comparison to national anthems of European Union countries. Today's speech plan includes telling you the definition of national anthem, the research question, the used research method, the research process, and obtained results and the conclusions. So let's start with the definition of national anthem. A national anthem is a patriotic musical composition that invokes and eulogizes the history, traditions, and struggles of its people, recognized either by state's government of the official national song or by convention through use by the state's people.
I'm really sorry to interrupt. I believe we don't see the proper slides of your presentation.
Okay.
Yeah, and probably you'd like to click on to present your presentation, not at the top right corner there is a button. Sorry for interruption.
Maybe I could just go and do this.
Yes, okay, please.
Okay, so my research question was, what are the most common symbols communicated in the national anthems of European Union countries? As I wanted not only to know the words of European Union anthems, but also the meaning and history behind those words. To obtain the wanted results, I used the word density analyze approach. The frequently used words were considered, findings were analyzed and compared in quantitative and qualitative perspective. And that's how I started my whole research process. By reading all the anthems, finding the keywords with mentioned method, using Excel to put all the obtained data together, I explored the context in which the most frequently used words were used in, and took out the words without the meaning, like articles and pronouns. Then studied the meaning of the remaining words and wrote down the results and findings. One of the main findings were the keyword categories. All European Union anthems can be categorized in 5 categories: tribute to monarchy, tribute to homeland and the people, praise to the beauty of the country, material anthems, and calls for harmony, freedom, and justice. I could grasp the monarchical context of countries such as United Kingdom or that of Sweden and Denmark, which both have 2 official anthems. So I categorized them in tribute to monarchy. There are anthems of Poland, France, Romania, and Portugal glorify defense of homeland. This is categorized in material anthems. Conversely, in central countries, the melody has been claimed by the people, either through convolution based on musical competition, as in Hungary, or through the famous singing festival of the Baltic countries. And this categorized in tribute to homeland and the people. The Slovenian and Maltese anthems make clear reference to peace, in which categorize in calls for harmony, freedom, and justice. In categories praise to the beauty of country, the country are Austria, Bulgaria, Estonia, Croatia, Finland, and Czech Republic. 5 most frequently used keywords in European Union anthems were land, liberty, song, spirit, and arms. The core finding was the most commonly used word in European Union country anthems, and that is word land, which is used 27 times. Keywords in context. I will give the keyword, how many times it is used, few country anthems in which the word is used in for the context, and my perspective on how this word is used. I will start with most commonly used keyword, land. So like I said, it is used 27 times, and it is in such country anthems as Denmark, Lithuania, and Estonia. There's a lovely land that's proudly spreads her bridge beside the Baltic strand. Here is sung about the beauty of homeland, Lithuania, our homeland, land of heroes. Here is sung about the homeland, mentioning forefather heroism. My native land, my joy and delight, how fair through art and bright. Here is sung about the beauty of homeland and about how much joy it is to live in this land. Next keyword is liberty, and it is used 8 times. This word is in such country Anthems as Belgium, Greece, and Cyprus. And your invincible unity shall have for immortal motto the love, the king, love, and liberty. Here is sung about how liberty should be part of life motto of homeland people. Greece and Cyprus have the same anthem. Now, with Asian volume rising, let us hail you, O liberty. Here is sung about liberty like it is something high and very meaningful, as it is. Then is keyword song, which is used in such country anthems as Sweden and Ireland, and it is used 6 times. Once from the death of Swedish harp, a joint and simple song, which reach forth to the king. A simple song that comes from the death of the heart is what brings people together to glorify the ruler and victory. Mid cannons roar and rifles peal, we chant a soldier song. Here, the song is something patriotic that makes people straighten out. Next keyword is spirit, used 4 times in such countries anthems as Cyprus and Greece. Like I said before, Cyprus and Greece have the same anthem. I shall always recognize you by the dreamful sword you hold as an earth with searching vision. You survey with spirit bold. The spirit here is a life spirit that makes you come forward and go on. And the last but not least keyword is arms, used in such country anthems as France and Portugal 6 times. They are coming right into your arms to cut throats of your son and woman. Here hands meant to be hands of fathers. To arms, over land, over sea, to arms, for the fatherland fight. Here is sung about the hands of forefathers who have fought for homeland, and how people should continue to fight for their homeland. My three main conclusions were most anthems are about the land, its freedom, defense, and its beauty. The country can have multiple anthems. To understand the deep meaning of the hymn, you also need to know a little about the history, why, who, and how anthems has formed. Well, the first conclusion was no surprise, because national anthems, for me, has always associated with patriotism, land, its beauty, and people. More of surprise was the second conclusion, because I had never heard that there can be more than one anthem for a country. But reading history of each country and how anthems has formed allowed me to understand the reason. One anthem is specifically for civil persons, and the other one is for is a royal anthem for royalty and military persons. To understand the meaning of something, you need to explore its past, why things are like they are. And my main 3 conclusions about the process are most of the time took to understand meaning of the words, because history of the country had to be read. I learned that there were so many books about emergence of anthems and meaning of their words. It's easier to work when using different tools, such as keyword density checker. If I didn't have this tool, I would have to look for every anthem's keywords by counting them myself, which would take a lot of time. Reading history of something takes time itself, but to read how things were created takes even more time. Because when I read history, I want to fully understand what I have read, every little detail. For people who want to know about European Union country national anthems, more about them, I recommend to read National Anthem of the World, 11th edition by Michael Jensen Briston, and National Anthem from Around the World by Leonard Cork. And these two are both the original and translated words, plus music. Anthem Quality by Christopher Cullen is a book about lyrics of national anthems. Author deals with general meaning of an inner national song phenomenon, the words we sing together with our compatriots when we assert ourselves to be national subjects. And also I recommend Encyclopedia of National Anthems, 2nd edition, and article, Why National Anthems Cause So Much Trouble. Thank you for attention.
Thank you, Rebecca, for your informative and interesting presentation. Thank you. And we invite Miroslava Chernachova to start the discussion, please.
Thank you very much. So I would like to thank to Rebecca for very interesting presentation. The topic, which I seem is very actual and can help us understand who we live in the European Union. The research was done very precisely. She followed the structure of real research, and I think that her research question was answered by her work. So the process which she applied was very well designed, and she discovered many interesting things which could be developed more in context, as Rebecca also mentioned, in relation to history and how each attempts were born and what is the culture context of these symbols of each country. So I appreciate very much, and I think that it can be also a good exercise for school children, because everybody has Excel. My question is, who or where did you take translation of these attempts? If you did some translation yourself, or if you used translations in publications. You mentioned something, but my question is if it's a mix of many translations or if it's your work.
No, it's a mix of translations, but I used already, like, I found that, no, I didn't found, teacher gave me a site where there were English translation, but there was one, I think it was Austria's anthem, which I had to translate myself.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, and what is your conclusion? I think you spoke about land, liberty, spirit, song, arms. Maybe you could each category analyze more detail how these categories represented by several countries or cultures or nations could differ, if it's historical reason or cultural reason, because some attempts are also songs. For example, Czech one is a song which was taken as official anthems.
I'm sorry, I didn't really understand the question.
Yeah, do you plan to do a special analysis of each category, for example, land or liberty or spirit, to discover more details about this? You presented us some examples, but if you will in future analyze more detail these categories.
I actually want to do it. If I will have time, I will do it, because it's really interesting for me. Speaking of categories, these were like roughly like categorized because you can categorize these anthems like even more detailed. Like you can categorize one anthem in two categories because
Okay.
hard to explain.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I have no question.
Well, thank you very much for your questions, and thank you, Rebeka, for your answers. Maybe anyone from the audience has any questions to Rebeka? Any commentaries? You're free to raise your hand and unmute yourself, or just type them in the chat. I will read them for you. No problems. This looks like so far we don't have any questions. Well, then, if you don't mind, I will ask. Yeah, Raquel is writing that it's a great presentation. Thank you for sharing, and I totally agree with Raquel. So, Rebeka, if you don't mind, I would like to ask you one question, maybe. Just a simple one, just my curiosity. If analyzing the Latvian anthem, how do you think which one is from the European Union anthems is the most similar to Latvian anthem, and why? Why do you think so? Rebeka?
You are asking for similarities?
Yes. Yes.
Similar. Well, there actually are kind of lot of similarities in anthems. It would be hard for me to answer right now, but I don't think I could answer it right now.
Okay.
I could research it, like look again.
All right. Well, but my question was precisely about the Latvian anthem. Which one is the most similar to the Latvian anthem, in your opinion, and why do you think so?
Could I answer this in chat? Could I think about it a bit more?
Sure, no problem. Yeah, of course. Thank you. Right. Yeah, Ms. Fleur, please.
Thank you, Rebeka. I was really interested in your presentation, and in fact, as Mr. Gurmans is talking about, seeing the differences between certain regions in Europe. I'm French, so I was very interested also to see the difference. And I was also very interested in your methodology, how you analyze texts. And this is not an easy thing to do. And going back to the question that Dr. Miroslava, if that's correct, was asking before, what do you think the limitations of your study might be?
Limitations. I don't quite understand what you mean by limitations.
So I think it's kind of pointing is one thing that you mentioned in being aware of the context of who wrote those anthems and why in what particular context that was set, but also looking at translation and how accurate those translations were and how that would impact on the reliability of your different categories.
Oh, well, these translations, I compared them in like many sites. I had this original site, I took them, but I also looked up in other sites how they are translated to like compare them and actually see how, if they're
reliable.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you. It's not easy, and I'm really impressed with your methodology. Thank you, Rebeka.
Yeah. Thank you, Rebeka, for your wonderful presentation. Thank you, Ms. Flor, Ms. Miroslava, and others for your questions.
Yeah, there were two questions. So the first one. So have you encountered any anthems that stand out of the rest?
For me, it was United Kingdom's anthem. How it was
That's it.
how it was Kā ir pieņemts kaut vai?
Accepted.
How it was accepted and changed, because it was actually made for a king and it's victory, but now it's a queen. God say queen, and it was really interesting to read the history of that.
Yep, sounds fair. And as well, a question from Miroslava is, you did a great analysis. How was born the idea to do a comparison of national anthems of EU countries? So probably here's the question about the way how you thought of designing your research or making your research happen.
Well, the idea was actually teacher's idea about Athens like that, but to compare a European Union Anthems, it was more like my idea. And how this idea was born. I'm really curious about the word meanings, the history itself. So, yeah.